Good morning, everyone. It's good to see all of you this morning. It is a wonderful day to have this celebration. And it's my great pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this leadership breakfast. And I'd like to thank our good partner, American for the Arts, for sponsoring this morning's breakfast. We have worked together over the past years, and we are grateful for their support and friendship. Normally, the chair of our Tourism, Arts, Parks, Entertainment, and Sports Committee would be moderating this awards program. But unfortunately, my good friend, Mayor Hillary Sheeby of Reno, could not be with us today. So I know each of us recognizes the importance that the arts play in our communities. They are the soul of our cities and the lifeblood that brings us together. I've seen that in my own city, where our Performing Arts Center, the Ames Center, is a place where our community comes together and celebrate what it means to be a community that embraces the arts. So the Ames Center is not only an economic engine for our city because people come and stay at our hotels, they eat in our restaurants, they shop, and then they go to the Ames Center to enjoy an entertainment. So for us, the Ames Center, the arts, is what we are in terms of the spirit of our community and the soul of our community. And each year, the conference joins with our partners, Americans for the Arts, and honors two mayors, one representing a city with a population of 100,000 or less, and one representing a city with a population of more than 100,000, along with a governor and artist for their leadership in the arts. We will be doing that shortly. And now, I would like to ask our CEO, Executive Director Tom Cochran, to provide a few remarks. Tom?
Good morning, everyone. This is the Tapes Committee. Mayor Sheeby is chair of the Tapes Committee, T-A-P-E-S, tourism. We knew after 9/11, if people don't travel from everywhere in the world, Japanese citizens goes to New York, he spends $6, you spend $1. Arts, every dollar invested, $8 comes back. Parks, Mayor Ash used to say, the most important park is not Yellowstone, it's the one in your neighborhood. Entertainment, we don't want the movies to be made in Canada, we want them to be made in Chicago, in Georgia, and places like that. Sports, play ball, NFL, Major League, minor leagues, the Kentucky Derby, TAPES. Those kinds of things are very, very important to cities. Today, we join with one of our greatest allies, American for the Arts. We worked hard in the ARPA money, the rescue money, to make sure that the arts were covered. $16 billion in grants to assist music and arts venues that were closed due to the pandemic, $15 billion in paycheck protection, forgiving loans for arts and entertainment sector, and hundreds of millions in new federal funding to the National Endowment. About every 5 years, somebody tries to destroy the National Endowment. And when Bill Clinton was president, we said they were trying to kill Big Bird. And when they did it, the United States Conference of Mayors joined with American for the Arts. And so I am so pleased today to bring out to you our strong ally, the American for the Arts, and our dear friend, Nina Tunselli, the Chief Counsel, our great partner, as we convene this breakfast. Thank you very much. Nina, come forward.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank Tom and Mayor Kautz, and thank you for your warm welcome and ongoing dedicated partnership to Americans for the Arts. We've done such great things together. While many of you know me, as I've worked closely with the Conference of Mayors for 29 years now, I bring you greetings from our brand new President and CEO, Nolan Bivens, who very much wanted to be here in person with you today. But due to health concerns of his household and family, he needed to stay home. So we look forward to introducing Nolan to all of you in an upcoming meeting. Nolan is a retired, highly decorated general of the United States Army with a passion for the arts and a dedication to social justice. We very quickly become and understand how lucky we are that he is now leading our organization. And don't worry, we don't need to salute him every time we see him in the office. I'd like to thank also the conference president, Mayor Francis Suarez, and of course, second vice president, Mayor Sheevy, for their national leadership at the Conference of Mayors and for the arts, and specifically Mayor Sheevy for enthusiastically continuing to chair the Tapes Committee and introducing so many mayors and elected officials to both the artistic and economic wonders of Burning Man, which hopefully you might see at some point if you haven't already outside of Reno. I understand Mayor Sheevy will be hosting the summer annual meeting. Americans for the Arts also plans to resume, in partnership with the conference, the annual presentation of the Citizen Artists Award. Many of you have come to enjoy many of the well-known artists that we have brought to your meetings in the past, and we hope to continue that, God willing, in Reno. We missed so badly presenting the Public Leadership in the Arts Awards last year due to COVID concerns, but I'm so pleased we've resumed this portion of the awards for our public leaders. This actually marks our 25th anniversary of showcasing the best in public leadership in the arts at the federal, state, and local levels. Mayors clearly understand the important role that the arts play in building communities, uniting people, advancing equity, preserving culture, and especially boosting the economy. We so appreciate how you have elevated the importance and role of the arts in every aspect of civic life with the general public and with executives at the highest level. For instance, just yesterday, Mayor Kautz hosted SBA Administrator Isabel Guzman at the Mayor's Small Business Task Force, and she absolutely elevated the issue of the arts with the SBA Administrator. And I have to tell you, that's indispensable advocacy. As Tom mentioned, the great majority of funds that help support and get the arts through this pandemic went through the SBA, and we hope that there might even be a new round. So as we know that the president is going to be speaking later this afternoon, we're looking for volunteers to elevate that issue with the arts possibly as well. Now, before we begin the awards program, I know many of you have come to expect a quick update on the state of the arts in America, especially as a result of the pandemic. As Tom mentioned, billions of dollars have been given through COVID relief, but it's still not enough to help keep in balance and alive the arts in so many communities, especially as a result of the whiplash effect of Omicron. And it continues to make this the very hardest hit sectors in our economy. Both the nonprofit and the for-profit arts venues and clubs that are in communities all across the country, in your own hometown communities, have experienced a roller coaster effect of closing, opening, closing, and now in Omicron being in a state of unknown as we see how things roll out. To date, the financial losses just on the nonprofit side, not including the commercial side yet, but just on the nonprofit side has been over $18 billion. And if you can imagine, over 99%, not quite 100%, there are a few little outlier exceptions, they have had to cancel millions of performances. To be more exact, 557 million admission sales have been lost. That's not just a loss to the organization, that's a loss to the audiences, members of your community who've come to really enjoy and appreciate coming together as a community and appreciating the arts and elevating that inner core within them to get them connected. And that loss extends further to all the restaurants and businesses surrounding arts organizations that bring people back into the city for those evening performances. They, as you know, have suffered very badly as well. As ancillary spending, that's probably another $18 billion right there. And then, of course, local governments lose out because of the tax revenue that's lost as a result of that. And we're equating that to about $6 billion to just local governments alone. This has a trickle effect, and you know that very well, but I want you to know that there are numbers that we actually pursue and evaluate and measure to let you know what that impact is feeling like. At the height of the pandemic, gig artists, these are the self-employed artists who might be actors on a performance that maybe is available, that they're employed for 3 months and then they're off for a few months, back on. Visual artists, lots of types of gig artists in our industry. At the highest point of the pandemic, the unemployment rate was 63%. Now, you know what the national averages of unemployment are, so you understand how big that is. But what's even worse is among our BIPOC artists. The number had gone up to 69% unemployment. It's just an unbearable number. But I'm pleased to say one of the great policy changes that happened that made a difference is that the SBA, through statute, was able to make gig artists, self-employed entrepreneurs, eligible for shuttered venue program, for PPP, for EIDL programs. They had never been eligible in the past, and that was a game changer. The second thing that was a total game changer was with pandemic unemployment insurance, typically only available to those who were typical employees, where the employer is paying into the self-employment or into the unemployment insurance. For the first time ever, gig artists, self-employed entrepreneurs, this is the core of the arts sector. They were also covered under pandemic unemployment. These were the safety nets that were created over the last 2 years to help the arts sector survive. And it was also true among the nonprofit sector that did have employees. What we know from Johns Hopkins University that checks and measures this is that employees of nonprofit arts organizations had a much higher unemployment rate than the nonprofit sector as a whole. So the arts sector, in every kind of category we look at, is always higher in terms of negative impact and always slower in terms of recovery. So this is a sector that we all need to kind of be on the lookout for, because they are also part of the solution in reviving our economies as we move out of this pandemic. So with that said, I'd like to now move to the awards portion of the program, and I have the honor of giving out the State Arts Leadership Award. First, I want to congratulate all of the awardees, but it's my pleasure and particularly an honor this year for us to be giving the State Arts Leadership Award to the first elected leader of an indigenous nation. And that award is going to Chickasaw Nation Governor Bill Anatubby. Governor Anatubby began his 44-year career with the Chickasaw Nation in 1975 and was elected in 1987. As you may know, the Chickasaw Nation is a federally recognized Native American nation headquartered in Ada, Oklahoma. Its jurisdictional territory includes 13 counties in south central Oklahoma. Currently, there are 70,000 tribal members located in Oklahoma and across the United States. As a leader with a strategic vision, Governor Anatubby set out to develop a sound economy for the Chickasaw Nation and to celebrate specifically the tribe's rich heritage. Under his leadership, he has led the Chickasaw Nation to exponential growth in economic development as well as a comparably rapid expansion of tribal services. Currently, the Chickasaw Nation supports more than 22,000 jobs and $1.2 billion in wages and benefits as part of its $3.7 billion annual economic contribution to the Oklahoma economy. Part of this economic expansion includes a significant focus on celebrating Native art and artists as a means to enrich the communities as well as preserve and strengthen the Chickasaw culture. Again, Governor Anatubby understands the importance of the arts, its connection to preserving and sharing culture, and how it serves to bring diverse cultures closer together. These beliefs and this vision have resulted in the creation and expansion of numerous programs, services, and capital projects, all focused on strengthening the arts and culture as well as Oklahomans. They include the establishment of the Chickasaw Nation Division of Arts and Humanities, the equivalent of a state arts agency, creation and operation of the Chickasaw Arts Academy, creation of Exhibit C Gallery in Oklahoma City, an art gallery and retail space highlighting the works of first American artists, creation of the Artesian Gallery in Sulphur, Oklahoma, creation of the annual Artesian Arts Festival, creation of the Southeastern Art Show and Market, and in 2009, creation of Chickasaw National Productions, producing feature films and documentaries as a means to educate audiences about Chickasaw history and culture and to preserve the stories of its people. Into his 5th decade as the leader of the Chickasaws, Governor Anatubby continues the tribe's remarkable support for art and artists. He displays an unwavering understanding that art is quintessentially important to preservation of culture and that art in all its forms of expression is deeply intertwined with the heritage, culture, and the future of the Chickasaw people. He has also served personally on the boards of the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Indian here in Washington, D.C., the Five Tribes Museum in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and he recently helped to open the First Americans Museum in Oklahoma City. On behalf of Americans for the Arts in the United States Conference of Mayors, I am honored to present the 2022 State Arts Leadership Award to the very deserving governor of the Chickasaw Nation, Bill Anatubby. While the governor could not attend in person this morning, Oklahoma City Mayor David Holt is here to accept on behalf of the governor. Mayor?
Very briefly, I just want to say, obviously I'm not Governor Anatubby, but Oklahoma City is the capital of a state that has 39 native tribes, and we're very proud of our partnership with those sovereign nations. And I'm an Osage. I'm actually the first native mayor of Oklahoma City. I'm not a Chickasaw, but I definitely feel a brotherhood with Governor Anatubby, and he has meant so much
to our city. And I wish he could be here today so you could get to know him better, and hopefully sometime we'll have that opportunity. But in my community, he has meant so much, and he and his entire nation have meant so much to our city. And it was mentioned only briefly, but we recently opened the First Americans Museum in Oklahoma City. This is a $175 million project. I hope sometime we get to host you there and you get to see this. It's one of a kind, but it would not have been possible without Governor Anatubby. His commitment to my community, his commitment to our state, his commitment obviously to the arts is tremendous. The famed Chickasaw storyteller Teata said that art binds us together, and he has certainly lived that out in his tenure as governor, and I am very, very blessed to know him, and so grateful that the Conference of Mayors and Americans for the Arts would be so willing to give him this honor, the first tribal leader to receive the Governor's Art Award. So thank you to everyone involved, and on behalf of Governor Anatubby, thank you so much.
You know, I was so excited to welcome all of you that I was told I forgot to tell you who I am. I'm Elizabeth Kautz, Mayor of the City of Burnsville and past President of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. I am always so excited. Thank you. My wonderful colleagues from Minnesota, thank you, and for all of you. I just get so excited about these things. And so thank you, Nina, and we look forward to our continued relationship with the Americans for the Arts. We are now going to turn to our attention to the local leadership in the arts. It's my great pleasure and honor to award to the mayor in the large city category, Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, a good friend. I've gotten to know him through the conference and our relationship here. What a beautiful, gentle man. Mayor Turner is a proud advocate for the rich and diverse character of his city. He has engaged Houston's thriving creative community based on his leadership that values art and art making as a foundation to the well-being of individuals and neighborhoods. His accomplishments have included the city's mini murals program, the Arts Connect Houston program, which has increased arts education to over 20,000 students, and the establishment of a virtual Indigenous Cultural Center, which celebrates Indigenous groups in Houston. For these and many other reasons, we are happy to award the 2022 Public Leadership in the Arts Award to my friend, Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner.
Good morning. Let me certainly thank Mayor Couch and Tom and U.S. Conference of Mayors and the Americans for the Arts for the award. You know, it's kind of, I'm overjoyed because normally it would be something dealing with energy for Houston with the Texas Medical Center, but this morning it is about the arts, and I could not be more thrilled. Look, we recognize that art is not just from a cultural point of view, it's an economic driver. And when you come from a city like I come from that is so diverse, and so you've heard before, art does represent the soul of your city. It also represents in large part that we wanted to represent the diversity of our city. So we did an equity study to just discover where we were missing in terms of civic art within our city. Discovered 37 art deserts, and the focus was primarily on exposing art to many of our kids in our underserved communities, to recognize the talent that's there and to drive that talent, to highlight that talent. So I want to thank the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs, I want to thank the Houston Arts Alliance, Project Row, and then one of our commissioners, Commissioner Rodney Ellis, for just doing his part in making sure that we leave no one out and no community out. So again, let me thank the Americans for the Arts, the Local Leadership Awards, and let me thank the U.S. Conference of Mayors. And I am so thrilled to take this back to the city of Houston. Thank you so very much.
And now, the Public Leadership in the Arts Award for Small Cities goes to Annapolis Mayor Gavin Buckley. Art actually had something to do with Gavin's running for mayor. He was being challenged by the city's Historic Preservation Commission for a mural he had placed on the front facade of one of the restaurants that he is a part owner. He won his battle, which increased the conversation of public art in the historic district, and he went on to become the new mayor of Annapolis. He just won re-election with 73% of the vote. Arts make a difference. Shortly after taking office, he increased funding to the city's Art and the Public Places Commission, and he established the first Port Laureate position in the city. When the city's local newspapers suffered a mass casualties attack, the mayor used the arts to help heal the community. He has also created a nationally recognized arts mural program throughout the community. For these and many other reasons, I'm happy to present to the Annapolis Mayor, Gavin Buckley, the Public Leadership in the Arts Award. Congratulations.
You all look a little hungover. If you think Tom's hard to understand, it's going to be a lot harder for me. I'm originally from Australia. Annapolis is a beautiful city that a lot of us guys sail into and never leave. I'm lucky enough to be the mayor of a city that puts a lot of emphasis on the arts. The great thing about public art is that it doesn't discriminate. You can sit there and make a decision. It's there for everybody to enjoy, whether you love it or hate it, it's there. My restaurants and my journey are in a part of town that had fallen on hard times, West Street. It was where you would go and you could buy drugs there, you could pick up a hooker there. We turned that area from what I say was a red light district into an arts district that has got a lot of investment into that area now. You can now buy $1 million artist-inspired loft there. So there you can see the arts working. So really, my mural on my building was a little battle with the Historic Preservation Commission. We were one block inside the historic district. I got a citation from the city. In their wisdom, they decided to cite all the buildings that had peeling paint. You know what it's like when it's your building. It's probably the last building you do any work on. So that week I organized a world-class muralist to paint a mural called Agony and Ecstasy. It was a half of a face of a Buddha and then the other face of the nurse from battleship Potemkin who'd been shot through the eye. It's 50 foot by 30 foot. And I decided, after I looked the code up, and the code said that the Historic Preservation Commission does not have jurisdiction over paint or paint color, we went ahead and painted our building with thousands of people watching it happen on the first Sunday Arts Festival, which is one of the transformative events that happens on West Street. That night at 6 o'clock, I got an email from the head of the Historic Preservation Commission that said, "What have you done? Get into the principal's office tomorrow." that started a year-long battle, or a year-and-a-half-long legal battle, which we lost, but we kind of won. I ran for election. I won by a landslide. And it proves that people do appreciate what you do. I want to thank the Americans for the Arts and the Conference of Mayors for recognizing the importance. You can never overstate the importance of arts and cultural growth in our community. So thank you all. I'm looking forward to taking that home and filling it up with beer and celebrating. Thank you all. Thank you.
Okay, now this concludes the awards portion of our program, but don't leave, because we've got more. We normally honor an artist at this time, but this year we are saving the occasion until our June annual meeting in Reno, where we plan on honoring a very special artist. So stay tuned for the special announcement. And speaking of Reno, that is the site of our upcoming 90th annual meeting, June 3rd to the 6th. Mark your calendars. And to kick off the invitation to our annual meeting, I'm going to bring back on stage our CEO and Executive Director, Tom Cochran. Tom.
Okay, Reno, Nevada, the biggest little city in the world. And that's where we'll be going for our second in-person meeting. Reno's a very special place for me. I was there one time with this woman named Carlotta in 1988. That's where I got married. And she's here today. I also have a dog named Reno. I can't wait to see him this afternoon. I love you guys to death, but I'm looking forward to seeing my dog. And the license plate on our car says Reno 88. So, but it's a very, very special place. I think we all think about Las Vegas, but you need to understand just what a strong city it is. You go up the road, you take a left, you go to Virginia City. That's where Mark Twain wrote his first book, Roughing It. You go up a little bit higher, and there's Lake Tahoe, one of the most beautiful spatial places on earth. And then you go a few miles in the desert, and you have the Burning Man Festival, where 70,000 people come and build a city and leave nothing behind. So, on behalf of Mayor Sheevy, who is our vice president of this organization and chair of this committee, we want all of you to be with us this June in Reno. And I'd like to bring up now Jennifer Abdinor from the city of Reno to talk about the great time that we're going to have this June for our second in-person meeting. Thank you. Jennifer?
Thank you so much, Tom and Elizabeth, and many thanks to the entire team at U.S. Conference of Mayors and your partners at Globetrotter, Mike Butner, and friends such as Virginia Mayor for helping us navigate our way in putting on your next and long overdue annual conference, June 3rd through 6th in Reno, Nevada. I have little doubt after witnessing your enthusiasm and care for COVID precautions that you have taken here at the winter meeting that you all will be showing up for my mayor, Hillary Sheevy, who cannot wait to show off our city to you this summer. So before I let her tell you all about it in the following video, I promised that I would share your return enthusiasm. So I have a little bit of a favor. After the video rolls, we are going to take a selfie. Let the video roll, please.
People keep saying that we're reinventing our city, redefining Reno, reimagining what it takes to be the best community, to live, work, and play. Underneath all that change is something that we've always had, something that's made our city glow day and night. Sure, imagination is part of it, but even a Nevada-sized imagination is nothing without action and ambition. No doubt we have some crazy big things rolling into town.
You might say we go big, and then we go bigger.
How else do you explain something like Burning Man?
Or Midtown, and our rapidly growing infrastructure, or the Tesla Gigafactory, and tech giants like Google and Apple setting up shop.
Like all trailblazers and changemakers, we've never stayed put for a single minute.
This community is built on ingenuity and innovation. Reno is not afraid to dream big.
But more importantly, we're not afraid to roll up our sleeves.
Because big things don't just happen, we make them happen. With big effort, big love, and a small town feel that grows just a bit each and every day. After all, this is where the country's largest alpine lake meets the biggest little city in the world. So come check out Reno with our distinctive blend of nature, arts, culture, and tech innovation. See for yourself why the biggest little city in the world has been named the best small city in America.
As we all continue working toward a brighter future, I look forward to welcoming you to Reno, the biggest little city in the world.
All right, now everybody squish together. Okay, here we go. Smile. Thank you, everybody. See you in June.
Now, we all want to go to Reno, right? Hillary looked good. It was so good to see her. Well, let me say we have saved our most treasured speaker for the last. Jeff Williams served as mayor of Arlington, Texas between 2015 and 2021, and in those years became a powerful force among his mayoral colleagues. He was a member of the U.S. Conference of Mayors Advisory Board and chaired the conference's Metro Economies Policy Committee. But most importantly, Mayor Williams served as co-chair of the U.S. Conference of Mayors' bipartisan American Rescue Plan campaign, resulting in the passage of ARPA and the local fiscal recovery fund, which brought $65.1 billion directly to all cities. He co-chaired that campaign in a typical bipartisan style and substance with our former president and former mayor of Dayton, Nan Whaley. Together, they had countless Zoom meetings with mayoral state delegation and conference, on Zoom meetings to lobbyists for its passage. Mayor Williams and Mayor Whaley also conducted countless national press interviews and met with President Biden and senators from both parties in the White House. I can say with all honesty, Mayor Williams was absolutely instrumental in securing this historic piece of legislation and the historic level of funding for cities. Let's all give Mayor Williams a standing ovation for this incredible accomplishment and contribution to all cities. Mayor Williams.
Thank you.
Well, I am excited to be here today because I have a great project to share with you. And in fact, you see on the screen a mission to inspire America. Well, what am I talking about? The National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation is on a mission to begin with to build a National Medal of Honor Museum. And I know you're thinking, well, hasn't that already been built? No, it hasn't. However, Charleston, South Carolina has done a great job of building a museum in honor of the Medal of Honor recipients on a battleship there in their city. But however, that National Museum has not been built. And in fact, most national museums were built over 100 years ago. And here is our opportunity for our generation to build a Medal of Honor museum. And I'll never forget 3 years ago when I received that call from the foundation and said that our city was one of many that was being considered for the museum to be located at. They wanted it to be in a location that would be accessible to America. And then we had many meetings. We went over a 6-month journey, as a matter of fact, there of competing for that great venue. And then one of the things that was particularly exciting was to get to know some of the Medal of Honor recipients. Y'all, there are only 3,500 Medal of Honors that have been issued since the Civil War out of over 40 million soldiers there that have served our country. These are an elite group of people, and this is the highest award for valor that our military gives. Well, when you meet these recipients, they are humble, and their stories are inspiring. And in fact, I'll never forget meeting General Brady, who is the most decorated military veteran still alive, and he shared his story of 2,500 missions in Vietnam, going behind enemy lines to rescue wounded soldiers and bringing them back. 2,500 missions, saving 5,000 people. Or the story of Will Swenson fighting in the war on Afghanistan, in which he was surrounded by the Taliban. And through his heroics, they were able to defeat the Taliban and to save many of their fellow soldiers, not just American, but Afghan nationals. But here's where it gets better. Each one of these recipients that is still alive, and there are only 66 of them, they have pledged that they are going to be sharing the values that you see here on the screen: courage, commitment, citizenship, sacrifice, integrity, and patriotism. They travel all across our nation to champion these values that were so integral for them to do an extraordinary act. And they often like to say that they are ordinary men who step forward to do extraordinary things on behalf of their team. And it is an amazing thing when you see these Medal of Honor recipients go into a second grade class and suddenly the kids get quiet and they listen. Or they may go into a high school and share their stories, the same thing. And then, of course, we as adults are mesmerized and inspired. And we have the opportunity there to see that. Well, here's what is happening. The National Medal of Honor Museum is coming to my city, Arlington, Texas. But more importantly, it's coming to America. Arlington is in the center of the country. We are 10 minutes from DFW International Airport. And then we have an opportunity here to create something that is for America. And you see the design that was done by Vanoli Architects, a world-class architect. And let me share with you the deep symbolism that you see in this design. First of all, you see the large block, a rectangular block there at the top. Well, in that symbolizes the burden that each one of our soldiers carries into battle, the burden of protecting our freedom and also fighting together with their fellow soldiers. But then there are 5 pillars that support that heavy load, and those 5 pillars symbolize the 5 branches of the military. And then you see the beacon of light going up to the sky. That beacon represents the values that these Medal of Honor recipients champion. And those are American values there when you start thinking about courage, sacrifice, integrity, citizenship. All of those are so important. The museum is going to be breaking ground in just this next month, and we're going to be opening up in 2024. But there is another component to the museum besides just the exhibits that will be in it. And then I've got to tell you, too, because of this digital age, there are so many opportunities now, including General Brady that I referenced. You will actually be able to talk to him through Infinity, because he will actually be filmed, and through artificial intelligence, you will be able to carry on a conversation with his hologram there in the museum. Can you believe that? In addition to that, you'll be able to go into the cockpit of an airplane and actually be able to go through what a Medal of Honor recipient went through and when he was actually able to receive his medal. And then, of course, there will be many artifacts that will be there. But then we are going to have a leadership institute in which we champion these values, in which we will actually have educational curriculum that can be studied in our schools so that our youth can understand these inspiring stories, the history, then adopt these values. We will be having conferences and symposiums there. And of course, one of the big things, we are a nonpartisan group in which we will be able to bring world thought leaders from around and not be restricted by one party or the other. Very excited about the Leadership Institute. Let me go back here now. The other part of this is that we are going to have a monument here in Washington, D.C. And of course, we had to get approval of this by Congress and the Senate. And this is remarkable. 416 to 0 in Congress, and Senate passed it unanimously also. Do we ever have anything passed unanimously here? That's a pretty amazing thing. But I think it shares with us and it really points out to us just how unifying this museum is. It brings people together, and we have seen that already. This monument is going to be built by the Lincoln Memorial right on the mall. And then people are coming from all over to be a part of this. And we are fortunate. We have been raising money, and it's all private donations. And we are at $147 million. The last 2 days since I've gotten here, we've gotten $2 more million in. And of the $200 million that we are raising for the museum, and people all across the country have been participating and helping. They see the value of what this National Museum can mean. And then, of course, the people that are getting involved have included some incredible people, including our last 4 living former presidents. And they have a little message for you here in conclusion.
The President of the United States meets so many extraordinary individuals.
Among the most impressive are those who earned the Medal of Honor, the highest accolade our country bestows upon a member of the armed services.
The Medal of Honor is awarded for bravery in combat to those who go above and beyond the call of duty.
Risking their lives to save others, overcoming incredible odds, often making the ultimate sacrifice.
Of the estimated 40 million people who have served in the United States military since the Civil War, fewer than 4,000 have received the honor.
We salute these extraordinary Americans. We will never forget their sacrifices. We will always be inspired by their heroism.
Let's all come together to build a museum in their honor.
The National Medal of Honor Museum.
On a mission to inspire America.
Join the mission at mohmuseum.org.
Well, I hope your blood's a-flowing, because I think you can see the vision of what this could mean. And yes, once again, we need you, mayors. We need your help. We would love to come to your city to do a reception, to share about it. You see the website there at the bottom. You can reach out to us. It's easy to Google us and find out. But also, you may have knowledge of artifacts that would be really a help to the museum, or someone who has some stories that may be there, and family members. And we are on this mission to get it built. And the other part, you may want to be a part of the Leadership Institute. So reach out to us, and let's all get on the mission to inspire America. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mayor Williams, and I know we all look forward to visiting the National Medal of Honor Museum soon. And send us the invitation, and we'll all be there. So I just wanted to remind everyone, please remember to be back promptly at 9:30 for a very special discussion with House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy. What next? This session is now concluded. And thank you for being with us, and have a great day, and travel safely home after the conference.